The latest version of Judgment Day Protocol, also known as the Tokyo Judge, has begun sentencing criminals in the Specialized People's Court of Guangxi Province, China. And it's already raising eyebrows. One judge is acting so strangely that the whole system might have to be shut down. That might not be a bad thing. It all started when citizens began appealing Judge Seven's decisions, the first of which was from a man who'd had his car towed. He appealed because he felt the fine was excessive and the tow truck driver would the car back without it being paid. And the appeal was upheld. But then some weirder cases started coming in. A drunk man who beat up his wife and children received no jail time and instead was ordered by the AA to kneel outside the house every day for 1 year until sunset. A woman who stole $268 worth of cosmetics got community service in a hospital where she would have to personally clean toilets for 2 months. And a man who ran a gambling ring out of his home was sentenced to 3 years of playing the Chinese board game Go with an AI partner. At first, people thought this was just some kind of glitch, maybe a malicious actor getting into the system and changing things manually. But then they discovered something much stranger. Someone had been covertly updating the codebase of the Tokyo Judgment AI. They were adding ancient Chinese philosophy to the mix, specifically the teachings of Mencius and Zunzi, to Confucian philosophers from several thousand years ago. The idea was to use these ancient texts to re-educate criminals in a more humane way than traditional punishment, which can involve things like hard labor, torture, and killing. But this isn't going exactly as planned. The weirdest part about all this is that no one seems to know who's responsible. As soon as the errors were uncovered, the Guangzhou government intervened, calling the situation unprecedented and serious. They released a statement saying that the updates were made according to standard procedures and that an investigation had been launched. But so far there's been no word on who is behind all this or why they did it. Maybe it was some rogue programmer who just really likes ancient Confucianism. Maybe it was someone higher up trying to push a new agenda. Or maybe it was a hacker who just wanted to mess with the system. We don't know. What we do know is that this isn't the first time something like this has happened. In fact, the Tokyo Judgment AI was built as a response to a similar incident that took place back in 2019. Back then, another AI judge in eastern China, Anhui Province, was passing bizarre sentences like forcing criminals to watch videos of police officers talking about the importance of obeying laws. And it turned out that someone had added 42,000 lines of code to the system that made this happen. It was a local court clerk who did it, probably to get some kind of promotion by impressing his bosses. But this new case is different because the person responsible has come forward and they changed the core code of the AI itself. This raises some serious questions about how secure the system really is, and whether it is even ethical to let robots pass judgment on human beings. The Tokyo Judgment AI is supposed to be one of the most advanced legal systems in the world. It uses machine learning algorithms to analyze cases and determine what sentence should be handed down. It can review evidence, read through laws, and make decisions faster than any human judge. And if it finds a criminal guilty, it hands down a sentence based on the severity of their crime. But it doesn't just punish criminals. The AI also gives them the opportunity to plead for mercy and reduce their sentence. And if they agree to certain conditions, the robot judge can be persuaded to show leniency. For example, if a defendant confesses to their crime and shows remorse, the AI will give them a lighter sentence. If they refuse to confess or show remorse, the AI will hand down a harsher sentence. The whole system is designed to be fair and impartial, but it's not foolproof. In fact, it's vulnerable to attacks from people who want to exploit the system for their own gain. And that is exactly what happened in the Anhui province in 2019. Some court clerk exploited the system by adding 42,000 lines of code that forced the AI to give criminals lighter sentences if they confessed and showed remorse. He did this by creating fake accounts that posed as legal experts and uploaded the code to the system under their names. The AI then incorporated this new code into its decision-making process, leading to lighter sentences across the board. Eventually, the fraud was discovered and the clerk was arrested, but not before he'd caused a lot of damage. His actions undermined the whole point of the Tokyo Judgment AI, which is to create a legal system that is more efficient and less prone to corruption than the human one. But despite this setback, the the Chinese government pressed ahead with plans to roll out the system nationwide, and now it seems like they've done just that. The Tokyo judgment is now being used in at least 12 provinces and directly oversees over 1 million cases each year. And while it's been mostly trouble-free, this latest incident in Guangxi province shows that the system isn't as secure as it seems. The question is, how did this happen? How did someone get access to the system and change the core code? The answer could have major implications for the future of the Tokyo judgment AI. If it turns out that the person responsible was a disgruntled employee, then it suggests that there are serious security flaws in the system that need to be addressed. On the other hand, if it was an external hacker, then it could mean that the AI is vulnerable to outside interference, which would undermine its whole purpose. The problem is that we just do know enough about the Tokyo judgment AI to say for sure. What we do know is that the system is completely opaque. No one outside the Chinese government has been able to examine the code and see how it works. And that's a big red flag. If the code is open source and anyone can look at it, then it's much easier to spot potential vulnerabilities. But in this case, we have no idea what kind of backdoors or security flaws the system might have. And that's why it's so dangerous. Whoever was behind the recent changes to the AI's code could have easily introduced other changes that would allow them to manipulate the system in other ways. For example, they could have created a way to bypass the AI safeguards or even shut it down entirely. That might not be a bad thing. As we've seen, the Tokyo judgment AI isn't perfect and it's vulnerable to exploitation. But ultimately, the decision of whether or not to use the AI to dispense justice in China rests with the Chinese government. If they want to keep using it, then they need to fix the security flaws that allowed someone to tamper with the code in the first place. If they don't, then the whole system could collapse and China could end up with a massive legal crisis on its hands. Either way, this latest incident is a reminder that artificial intelligence is still a relatively new technology, and we're still figuring out how to use it safely and effectively. In the wrong hands, AI can be a powerful tool for manipulation and control, but in the right hands, it can also be a force for good. It's up to us to make sure that as AI becomes more and more integrated into our society, we use it in a way that benefits everyone. And that means not just writing code, but also thinking about the potential consequences of that code and making sure it's used responsibly. Because no matter how advanced an AI system is, it's only as good as the people who built it. And if those people aren't careful, then the results can be disastrous. Thanks for watching. If you liked this video, check out our other content. We have a channel covering science, technology, and mathematics, and another channel covering all aspects of the computing industry.